If you woke up tonight and realized the person standing in your hallway wasn't human, what would you do? This story is based on a real incident that happened in a small American town, a night when a mother and her two children learned that sometimes the thing you fear the most isn't outside your home, it's already inside. Jessica Myers had lived in the Willow Creek neighborhood for only 6 months. It was a quiet, peaceful suburb in Oregon, one of those places where every house had a trimmed lawn, every neighbor waved politely, and every night the streets felt safe enough for kids to play until dark. Her husband, Mark, worked for a construction company and often traveled to different states for weeks at a time. That night he was in Texas, 3 time zones away. Inside the house, only 3 people were present: Jessica, 32, Ethan, her 12-year-old son, Lily, her 7-year-old daughter. The night began perfectly normal. Jessica had cooked pasta, helped Lily with homework, reminded Ethan twice not to stay up late playing Fortnite, and finally tucked them into their bedrooms. The house was quiet. Too quiet, maybe. She sat on the couch with her laptop, editing a photo project for her freelance job. Rain tapped gently against the window, soft, rhythmic, harmless. At 11:23 p.m., her phone buzzed. It was a text from Mark. "Miss you. Everything okay at home?" She smiled. "All good. Kids asleep. Weather's calm. Just lonely." Mark replied with a heart emoji. That was the last normal moment of the night. At 11:41 p.m., Jessica heard something upstairs. A thump. Soft, but heavy, like someone dropping a boot on the floor. She paused, listening. Maybe Ethan got up to go to the bathroom. She waited for footsteps. None came. The house returned to silence. Jessica exhaled, shook her head, and returned to editing. 11:48 p.m. Another sound, this time louder. Thud. Jessica's heart skipped. She stood up slowly. Maybe it was the old house settling, wood expanding from the heater, things she'd heard before, right? She tried to convince herself, but the sound wasn't from the walls. It wasn't from the pipes. It came from the hallway outside the kids' bedrooms. A direct, deliberate sound. She whispered to herself, "It's nothing, just nothing." But she didn't believe it. Jessica remembered the house had a security system installed by the previous owner. 3 cameras, front door, backyard, upstairs hallway. The hallway cam pointed directly outside Ethan and Lily's rooms. With a shaking hand, she opened the app on her phone. The feed loaded. Static. White noise. Then, the picture cleared. The hallway came into view. Dim, still, empty. No movement. No shadows. She almost sighed in relief when a shape moved. Fast, blurry, crossing the camera for a split second. Jessica froze. Rewind. Play again. A dark silhouette, low to the ground, crawling rapidly from one end of the hallway to the other. Something humanoid, but not moving like a person. Her stomach twisted.
She whispered, "What is that?" She zoomed in, and the image froze on a face. Not a child, not an adult, not anything human. Grayish skin, long, sharp mouth, eyes reflecting the hallway nightlight, looking directly into the camera, looking at her. The app glitched, the feed went black. Jessica's breathing turned shallow. She felt the house listening to her, as if the walls were aware of her fear. Then, slow, careful, deliberate footsteps across the upstairs floor, as if someone or something was walking toward the staircase. Jessica stepped backward. Her mind raced. Should she run outside, grab the kids, call 911? Her hands trembled so hard that the phone nearly slipped. The footsteps were coming closer. Then they stopped. Right above her head, in the ceiling, on the landing at the top of the stairs. Jessica looked up. Silence. Then, a long, slow exhale coming from the vent above her, as if something was breathing through it. Jessica stood frozen at the bottom of the stairs. Her heartbeat felt louder than the rain outside. The vent above her head rattled just slightly, like something was brushing against the metal from the inside. She forced herself to swallow. Ethan. Lily. Her children were only 20 feet away and possibly inches from something she couldn't explain. She gripped the staircase railing. Her hand was sweating so much she almost slipped. Step by step, she climbed the stairs. Each step creaked in a way it never had before, like the house was warning her. Halfway up, she heard it. A whisper. Soft, thin, coming from the dark hallway. Her name. Jessica. Her blood went cold. She stopped breathing. That wasn't Mark's voice. That wasn't anyone she knew. It sounded like someone trying to mimic a human voice, but not understanding how humans should sound. Jessica's knees nearly buckled, but she forced herself to climb the rest of the stairs. When she reached the top landing, she noticed something on the floor. Scratches. Long, uneven claw marks, fresh, dragged across the wooden floorboards. They led from the end of the hallway straight toward her daughter's room. Lily's bedroom door was slightly open, just an inch, just enough for someone to look inside. Jessica's heart pounded against her ribs. She placed her hand on the door. It was warm, too warm. She slowly pushed it open. The room was dark except for Lily's nightlight shaped like a small moon. The soft blue glow filled the room with a gentle, calming light. And then Jessica saw her daughter. Lily was sitting upright on the bed, eyes wide open, not blinking, facing the window. "Lily?" Jessica whispered. No response. She walked closer. "Baby, are you okay?" Lily slowly turned her head, moving too stiffly like her neck was resisting. Her eyes did not look scared. They looked empty, like she wasn't fully awake, but also wasn't sleeping. She touched her cheek. Cold, ice cold. "Lily, talk to me." Lily finally whispered, but it wasn't her voice, not fully. There was something else layered beneath it. A second voice, lower, hollow. Together they whispered, "He's calling my name." Jessica's blood ran cold. "Who? Who is calling your name?" Lily slowly raised her hand and pointed at the window. She followed the direction and saw a face, pressed against the outside glass. Gray skin, wide mouth, black, unblinking eyes, watching them, smiling. Jessica choked on her breath. The face didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. Every instinct inside her screamed to grab her daughter and run, but her body wouldn't move. Finally, she grabbed Lily's hand. The creature outside curled its long fingers against the window pane, leaving foggy streaks as it exhaled slowly. Jessica jerked back. It was breathing, it was alive, and it was inches away. Before she could pull Lily toward the door, the face vanished. Not faded, not walked away. It moved sideways, unnaturally fast, like a glitch in reality, and disappeared from the window frame. Jessica grabbed Lily in her arms. "Ethan! We're going to Ethan's room!" She ran out into the hallway and immediately froze. Someone was standing in the middle of the hallway, a tall silhouette, motionless, facing them. The outline looked human, but the head was tilted all the way sideways, almost 90 degrees, like the neck was broken, and the arms were too long, hanging low past the knees. It didn't move. It just stared. In a voice that sounded like multiple people speaking at once, it whispered, "She saw me." Jessica ran, holding Lily tight, almost dropping her. She sprinted toward Ethan's room. The shadow figure did not chase. It simply turned its twisted head to watch. Jessica banged on Ethan's door. "Ethan, open the door, now!" No answer. She pushed the handle. Locked. "Ethan, baby, open it!" Still no response. Then, suddenly, the door unlocked itself. It slowly swung open. Darkness. Jessica stepped inside and felt something brush past her legs, fast. Something small, or someone.
She spun around. The door slammed shut behind her. Bang! Lily gasped and clung to her mother's neck. Jessica's voice trembled. "Ethan? Where are you?" A whisper came from the corner of the room. Not from Ethan. Not human. "He's not here anymore." Jessica grabbed the phone, turned on the flashlight. The beam revealed the closet door. Scratched. The wood dented as if something had clawed to get out. Or to get in. "Ethan," she whispered. The closet door slowly, very slowly, began to open on its own. But the darkness inside was too thick, like the light couldn't enter it, like the shadows were alive. Then Ethan's voice came from inside. "Mom?" Jessica broke down into tears. "Ethan, come out, please!" But Ethan didn't step out. Instead, his voice whispered again, this time trembling, scared. "Mom, I'm not alone in here." Jessica took one step toward the closet. The air grew colder. Her breath turned white. She pointed her phone's flashlight at the darkness. Nothing. Just pitch black. Then Ethan's small hand appeared, reaching out. "Mom, help me!" Jessica reached for him, but before she could touch his fingers, another hand appeared. A long, gray hand with sharp, curved fingers. It slid over Ethan's hand, like it was claiming him. Jessica screamed and yanked Ethan out. He hit the floor, gasping. The creature's hand shot out further, too far, impossibly far, but stopped at the edge of the closet, as if something was restricting it. Ethan sobbed. "Mom, I told you something was in here!" Jessica grabbed both children. "We're leaving, now!" But when she turned toward the door, it was no longer there. The doorframe was sealed. The wall was solid, like the room had swallowed the exit. Jessica's breath trembled. Ethan whispered, "Mom, the house changed." Lily added in her eerie dual voice, "He's inside the walls." The room grew darker. The walls pulsed, softly expanding and contracting, as if the house itself was breathing. The floor vibrated under their feet. Ethan grabbed her mother's arm. "Mom, look!" A face began to form on the wall, pushing through the wallpaper from underneath, stretching the surface like elastic. A deformed face, smiling, watching them. Then another appeared, and another. Multiple faces pressing outward, silent, distorted, as if trapped inside the walls and trying to break through. Jessica backed up with her children. She whispered, "We need to find a way out." Lily suddenly pointed at the ceiling. The attic door. Jessica looked up. The attic hatch was barely visible in the dim light. It was their only escape. Something slammed into the wall behind them, hard. The face bulged outward violently this time and screamed, a ragged, inhuman, multi-layered scream. Jessica lifted Ethan first. "Grab the edge of the hatch and pull yourself up." The wall screamed again. Hands, hundreds of gray hands began to pushing through the wallpaper, reaching for them. The entire room shook. Jessica shoved Lily upward. "Go! Go!" Something grabbed her ankle. Cold, sharp, a hand from the floorboards.
Jessica kicked and pulled free. Ethan finally pushed the attic door open, and a cold wind rushed down from the darkness above. Jessica threw both children up into the attic opening. Then she grabbed the edge. The hands grabbed her legs. The walls screamed louder. Jessica pulled. The hands pulled harder. Until she jerked herself free, scraping her legs, and climbed into the attic. The hatch slammed shut beneath them, just as the creature screamed in rage.
Jessica, Ethan, and Lily were finally in the attic. It was small, dusty, full of old boxes and cobwebs. The air was thick and musty, but at least there was no immediate danger, for now. Jessica set the kids down and tried to catch her breath. We have to stay calm," she whispered. Ethan, still trembling, nodded. Lily didn't speak. Her eyes were fixed on the far corner of the attic. Jessica followed her gaze. A large old trunk sat against the wall. It wasn't locked, but a strange aura seemed to radiate from it. Lily suddenly pointed. "It's in there. He wants it." Jessica froze. "Who wants it?" Lily whispered in the same dual voice. "The one in the walls. He's waiting." The attic air grew colder. The children's breath became visible. Something was waiting. Jessica hesitated. The trunk seemed normal, but something inside felt wrong. Ethan stepped forward. "Mom, it might help. Maybe it explains everything." With shaking hands, Jessica opened the trunk. Inside, she found old photographs of the previous owners, smiling families, happy kids, a diary bound in black leather, strange symbols etched into the wood lining the trunk. Jessica picked up the diary. The handwriting was old, faded, but readable. "The house is alive. The walls remember. They do not forgive." Her heart raced. What does that mean? Ethan picked up a photograph. It showed a family standing in the living room, the same room they were trapped in now. Except there was something in the corner. A shadowy figure, barely visible, staring at the camera. Jessica shivered. The diary continued. "Do not sleep alone. Do not trust the walls. They want what was taken." The words didn't make sense yet, but deep down, Jessica knew. The house itself was hungry. Jessica flipped through the diary pages. It belonged to Margaret Lyle, the previous owner. Margaret had lived alone after losing her husband in a mysterious accident. Neighbors whispered about her being strange, keeping to herself. The diary revealed Margaret had performed experiments with ancient rituals in the attic. She believed the house was alive, that it could trap souls. Several children had vanished from the neighborhood in past decades. Jessica's stomach turned. Could her children be next? "We need to leave, now," she whispered. Ethan nodded. Lily stared at the trunk. "Mom, it wants me to open it," she said softly, voice dual-layered again. Jessica gritted her teeth. No, not now. They had no plan to escape. The attic hatch was the only way down, but it led straight back into the living room. Jessica slowly lifted it. Her stomach sank. The living room looked different. The walls were pulsing, breathing. The hallway no longer led to the kids' rooms, just blackness. The shadow figure from before stood at the bottom of the stairs. Its head tilted sideways. Its long arms swayed. The figure stretched unnaturally, blocking the only exit. Jessica froze. Ethan whispered, "Mom, it knows we're here." Lily tugged at Jessica's sleeve. "It's angry. It wants us." Jessica realized they couldn't fight it. They could only outsmart it. Jessica scanned the attic. Old boxes, trunk, cobwebs. Then she saw an old ladder leading to a tiny window. It was their only chance. "We're climbing out," she whispered. "Ethan, grab Lily's hand. Don't look down." The window was small, but it led to the roof. Jessica pushed the trunk in front of the hatch to buy time. The shadow figure below hissed, "Don't leave." Jessica's hands shook as she climbed the ladder. Ethan followed, Lily in the middle. "The roof! We have to make it to the street!" Rain poured harder, drenching them instantly. Jessica's heart hammered. The figure moved faster than she expected, climbing the stairs impossibly fast. She kicked the hatch down behind her. The shadow screamed in frustration. Jessica climbed onto the wet shingles. She could see the street. "Almost there," she whispered, more to herself than the kids. The house groaned. Windows rattled. The walls pulsed violently. From the roof, she looked back. For a split second, she saw dozens of faces behind the windows, all gray, all screaming silently, all staring at them. Jessica pulled Ethan and Lily along. The rain made it hard to climb down the other side. One false step, and she would fall. The shadow figure climbed out of the attic after them. It moved unnaturally, gliding over the wet roof. Jessica screamed, "Run! Run!" And with a final, desperate leap, the three of them hit the grass. They ran, straight into the black night. The house loomed behind them, silent. Jessica, Ethan, and Lily ran through the rain-soaked streets. The cold night air stung their faces, but fear kept them moving faster than their legs had ever carried them. Behind them, the house stood like a dark monolith. No lights, no movement, but the feeling of being watched didn't fade. "Mom, is it gone?" Ethan asked, trembling. Jessica didn't answer. She couldn't. Somewhere deep in her mind, she knew the house was never gone. It was patient, eternal. "Keep running," she whispered. Lily, silent, clutched her hand tightly. They reached the nearest street. A few houses were awake, lights spilling onto the wet asphalt. Jessica ran to a door, pounding on it. "Help! Please, someone call the police!" A man in pajamas opened. "What's wrong?" Jessica tried to speak, but the words tumbled out chaotically. "The house! There's something inside! It tried to... My kids! Please!" The man's face turned skeptical. "Ma'am, are you drunk? Maybe you should calm down." Suddenly, the children shouted, "It's coming!" The neighbor turned around just as a shadow glided across the street. It was too fast, too unnatural. The neighbor froze. Jessica grabbed the kids and ran again. By the time the police arrived, Jessica had gathered her breath. She explained everything: the shadow, the attic, the walls, the faces, the diary. "Ma'am, calm down. Let's just look at the house," an officer said. Jessica led them back, but the house was normal. Windows intact. No pulsing walls. No claw marks. Even the attic looked ordinary. The officers whispered among themselves. "We didn't see anything abnormal," one said. "Probably just stress, maybe some prank from the kids." Jessica wanted to scream. The house had let them leave, but she knew it was still alive, watching, waiting. Over the next few days, Jessica avoided the house. She moved temporarily into her sister's home nearby. Ethan and Lily were traumatized. Ethan refused to sleep alone. Lily whispered to something invisible at night. One night, Jessica peeked into the children's room. "Mom," Lily whispered. She pointed to the window. Jessica's stomach turned. On the outside, etched into the rain-streaked glass, were hundreds of tiny handprints. And at the corner, a single, shadowy face stared in, watching, smiling. Jessica reviewed the diary again. A single note at the end caught her attention. "They always leave, but they never go. They watch, and sometimes they follow." She realized the truth. The house wasn't just the building. The house was conscious, malicious, patient. Leaving didn't save them. It just delayed the inevitable. She remembered the first sound, the first whisper, the first shadow. It had followed them that night, hidden in corners, in reflections, in walls far from the house. Jessica knew one thing: they were never truly safe again. One stormy night, weeks later, Jessica, Ethan, and Lily were sleeping at her sister's home. Rain pattered against the windows. Lightning flashed. Lily whispered in her dual voice, "He's here." Jessica jolted awake. She grabbed Ethan and looked around the room. Nothing. Then she saw it. A shadow reflected in the hallway mirror, standing tall, head tilted, long arms swaying slowly. And etched into the wall behind it, "Welcome home." Jessica screamed, clutching her children. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, something smiled, patient. The house, or whatever it was, had followed them. And now, it had found them.